Alright, hello everyone. It is me. I am Canner. Welcome. We are here with the July update. The July 1st update. So, I am just getting things ready here. Can I get this in a separate window? Okay, perfect. Alright, so I didn't think about this beforehand, but we're gonna go window capture, new source, notepad. We're gonna have a notepad right here. So, what is this? What is this video about? Well, I thought it would be fitting if I went through and gave you guys an update on how things are going to function in the future. And by in the future, I mean for season 14. I don't know why I almost said season 12, but for season 14. So, as it has been made aware, the format is National Dex with legacy moves. Can I increase the font size a little bit? We'll go to 14. Here we go. So, National Dex with legacy moves. This means that Pokemon will have wider access to knockoff, wider access to Tailwind in some cases for the Mons that ended up losing it. So, that means Pokemon like Cottony are going to be getting buffed as it now once again has access to Tailwind. I've said this one a lot in the chat if you've paid attention, but Wartortle has access to Follow Me. Riolu even gets a buff in the form of once again having access to Follow Me. So these are three NFEs that get pretty sizable buffs as a result of this being our format. So we've talked about the format. There are a couple other things that we could talk about and that we need to talk about. First off, applications. So, apps are going to release following Grand Finals. So, following Grand Finals, we are going to be releasing the apps. This is how you are going to be applying to Season 14. There has been a couple changes that are in the process of going through. I'm going to put this in all caps at the top here. Subject to change. Can I bold? No, I can't. So we're just gonna throw a bunch of those. Subject to change. Everything discussed in this video is subject to change. Trying to say exactly when things are and aren't going to release and when things are, well, what things are going to be, it's kind of hard for us to tell right now. But applications will be released following Grand Finals. Applications will be open for 2 weeks. Or more if needed. So, 2 weeks or more if needed. I think I should be really transparent here as well of our goal. Our goal is 16 players once again. Our goal is to once again hit 16 players for this season. So, these are the application stuff. Releasing following Grand Finals will be open for 2 weeks, and the goal is 16 players. Let me talk about specific dates that I would expect the applications to drop. So, in this case, I would expect anywhere from July, because I have no idea, as of when I'm recording this, it is 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, or 2 p.m. EST, on Sunday, June 30th. So, the last match of the Dusk Finals hasn't been played yet, so I don't know what the matchup's going to be, when the match is going to take place. So I'm only going to be able to give a specific kind of range that I would expect applications to release. I would say applications could drop anywhere from July 5th to July 9th. I would say anywhere from the 5th to the 9th is when you should be expecting them to drop. Even if it's done prior to the 5th, I don't think I'm going to be dropping them any earlier than that. This is honestly, just full transparency, once again, this is in hopes for me to catch my breath a little bit. These last couple weeks have been basically non-stop working for me on stuff on the Elite end. And honestly, I need a bit of a break, even if it's just 2 weeks. So, that's it for applications. Let's talk about the thing that everyone likes more than the league itself. All of this stuff doesn't matter when it comes to this. Well, it does matter. But we're talking about the tier list. So, there's not a ton to talk about in regards to the tier list. Is what I would say if this was the same style as last season. However, this season we are going back to doing points. So say this isn't its actual point total, but say Riolu now is 9 points. You have to pay those 9 points in order for this to be on your team. You will have a total of 115 points to draft 9 to 11 Pokemon. This is what our current number is. And I know what you might be thinking. Oh, well, 16 players, we have 2 separate boards like last season. You know, everything is very similar. Like, it looks similar. Like, besides, you know, this, being able to draft 9 or 10 Pokemon. But it's like, oh, yeah, okay, so it's going to be 8-player boards, you know, 16 players, 2 conferences. While there are going to be 2 different divisions, Dusk and Dawn, so we're going to say it here, Dusk and Dawn will be returning. So, Dusk and Dawn will be returning in the current format that we have things going on. Initially, we were discussing doing skill-based divisions, but lately it kind of became apparent that this is kind of, at least to me, the way that we should be doing things. I think Dusk Dawn, these 2 divisions that are kind of treated as you know, a skill level that is not beyond, like, one group isn't inherently better than the other, and there's no goal to promote to the other division. But I will say, so, for this, our top 4 coaches are, so our top 4. If you guys know anything about last season, the top 4 is kind of what, I don't remember if I released this publicly or not, but the top 4 coaches are kind of what the league is balanced around. Last season, that was myself, Kathy Barra, Winda, and Lord Nobody. This season, it is going to be Winda, Kathy, Nobody, and Gig. So very similar. It's pretty similar, admittedly, about how many people are, you know, how many, like, we have 3 out of the 4 are the same. The difference is Gig over myself. So, what does this mean? Why am I talking about this in the tier list section? Well, it's important for a little bit of context. So, now that we know we are not doing skill-based divisions, I think it is time to announce the biggest difference when it comes to the draft. A 16-player draft board. What the fuck was that? God damn. Alright, anyways. So, it's a 16-player draft board, so every single coach will be drafting from the same board. Natdex is very strong. Natdex is very top-heavy. It's unavoidable. So what we decided to do was take a course of action that would make the options that players have more limited. Not through drastically lowering the point total, which was another alternative we were considering, or at least I was considering, but a 16-player draft board just feels better. Not to mention there's over 1,000 possible Pokemon to draft. I'm pretty sure we can make a 16-player draft board work. Don't you guys think? So, that's what we have with the tier list, but there are a couple really big differences with the tier list. Megas are back, obviously. That's nothing new, but certain restricted Pokemon will be legal. So, this is a scary statement. I understand. Certain restricted Pokemon will be legal. Well, what restricted Pokemon are we going to see legal? We have Zygarde 50%. This is without the ability Power Construct. We have Zygarde 10%, also without the ability Power Construct. We have Kyurem, the base form of Kyurem. We have Necrozma, the base form of Necrozma. And is that it for the relevant one? Let me just make sure. Okay, and then we just have kind of the bad ones here. We have Calyrex. This is the base Calyrex. Even if you draft Glastrier or Spectrier, you just get Calyrex and the horse. You don't get to do the rider. You don't get to do that. No shot. I feel like that was pretty obvious, but, you know. And then the next one is... The next two are Cosmog and Cosmoem. These are both legal as well. And if you look at this, like, it's pretty obvious why they don't do anything. Like, they really don't do anything at all. So when it comes to the restricted Pokemon, those are the ones that are legal. Let's talk a little bit about bans. The bans are basically the same as last season. Iron Hands and the Urshifus. Iron Hands and the Urshifus are banned. These mons are just fundamentally not fun to play with in draft. I think they're not overpowered in a Natdex environment. I think there's plenty more options to deal with Iron Hands and Urshifu. However, I don't want to have to subject myself or anyone to kind of playing the Urshifu game. So, with the tier list, there is a little bit more information, such as when does it drop? When does the tier list drop? It's a good question. Typically, we wait a little bit after applications for the tier list to drop, even if it is already prepared and all ready. However, this season, due to it being points and being so much more mons, like there's so many more mons, there's so many more interactions, there's just so many more things that we're not done yet. We have a week anyways before applications very likely will be dropping, so it's possible that we could hit a simultaneous goal of applications and the draft board. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if we're gonna hit that. There's just so much to do, and I can't do it all myself. If I could do it all myself and got all the changes that I would like to see on the board done, I could have the draft board done probably tomorrow. However, that's not how it works. This is meant to be a team collaborative effort, so it's not really going to be realistic to drop. But I can tell a little bit more information about when I expect it to drop and kind of how some other rulings are going to work. So I would expect the tier list to drop as early as July 9th or as late as July 16th. I think this is a reasonable range. We'll say 2 instead of 4, because then people will think it's only those 2 dates. It could be anywhere within this 8-day period. It's really hard to tell. Like I said, the tier list isn't done yet, so that just kind of makes it so we don't have everything prepared. I'm not going to release the tier list if it is in a state that I am not comfortable with. I don't want people to sit and make plans and then have to tell them, yeah, well, your plan doesn't work because I was uncomfortable having a Pokemon at that point total. If I were to give a pretty generous guess about how far we are complete, I would say we're about 80% complete. There's a lot of discussion that needs to be had. The actual process of putting the mons on the tier list and tiering is done. We have done one practice mock, which kind of led us to this conclusion of the 16-player draft board. But with it being a 16-player draft board, we also have to change our perspective on how we are currently tiering. Sorry, I'm a little bit sick if I sound sick. I have no idea. But yeah, so 16-player draft board that drops anywhere from July 9th to July 16th or sooner. It could drop with this. I'm hoping that we can aim for a simultaneous release of applications and the draft board, but if it's towards the earlier end of the applications, at the application date, I'm expecting it not to be. I don't know if we're going to hit July 5th. Like I said, I really, really hope we do. I just want to have full transparency with you guys. If it doesn't drop on July 5th, if it doesn't drop even as late as July 9th, don't be worried. We are diligently working. I'm working on the tier list literally every day. Which is why I need a break, because I've been working on it basically every day for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, about 2 weeks when this video will come out. But okay, so let's talk a little bit about Terra rulings. Terra rulings. I'm just gonna call it page 2. This is page 2, so we're gonna get rid of this. Terra. How is Terra going to work? Well, it is going to be very similar to last season with an asterisk. The actual pool of available Pokemon that have access to Terra is vastly increased, even adjusting for, you know, the curve of this is the new Pokemon coming in from not being in the game. It's above the curve. So I would say, the point total goes up to 23 points to 1 point. And this is very important because there is a no Terra range. So no Terra range still exists. The no Terra range still exists. That is going to be 21 to 23 points. This is drastically lower than what it was last season. But there's a reason for this, and we're testing ultimately how things work, which is Terra Preview. So, every single week, we will be playing under the Terra Preview rule set. This means that whatever Terra you bring into the week, say I have Zygarde 10% with Terra Stellar, going into the match, they will be able to know that my Zygarde 10% is Terra Stellar. So, this is in the hopes to see if people, when they know the Terra type of the Mon in Team Preview, can deal with the threats of Terra. Or if it's just one of those things where Terra is doomed to never work in this league. Because that's, other than this, that's the only thing we haven't tried yet. So, all of this, we've talked about the Terra rulings, we've talked about the tier list and when it's going to drop, we've talked a little bit about applications, we've talked a little bit about this. That's pretty much it for everything that's important. There are some things that I will probably think of later on, but trust me, this isn't the only video that's going to be made in preparation to Season 14. Even just like a moderation side of things. When the tier list drops, we will also be taking a video. We will be sitting down and we will be talking about the tier list, potentially with a guest. I don't know. I don't have a guest lined up yet. I literally don't have anything lined up yet for next season. I just want people's expectations to be properly in a proper level. But I'm going to be trying to make some more content. I'm also going to be trying to make more content next season throughout the season, because I really dropped the ball with that last season. But we did thankfully have two incredible people on content that helped us through the regular season. So huge shout outs to Broken Pinky and Winda for taking the time to record their perspectives in the case of Winda and record the weekly pick'ems in the case of Pinky. It was very appreciated, and I would be incredibly stupid to not mention that. So, that's pretty much it. I want to thank everyone for their continued support of UBL throughout the years. We are about to be reaching my 10th season being the head of the VGC division. Season 14 is my 9th season. And honestly, I couldn't do it without all the amazing people who continue to play this league season and season again. I really appreciate it. I want to give a very big shout out to a couple people as well. As always, big shout out to Winda. Big shout out to Kathy. You both have been very, very helpful in both the preparations for Season 14 and in kind of just keeping me more grounded. I do need to take a break, as, you know, Winda has shouted at me multiple times, as Gambit has shouted at me multiple times, how Rat has shouted at me multiple times. If you guys haven't noticed, the mods really all want me to take a break. So, I will be playing next season though, so don't get confused. I will be playing next season. So, huge shoutouts to the mod team, but specifically, huge shout out to Gambit. They're awesome. They kind of have been the thing that helps to I don't know what I was going to say. I forgot what I was going to say. But they have been very instrumental in the growth of the league, as well as just making sure I have someone that I can rely on to make sure things are running as smoothly as I need to. Huge shoutouts to Air as well for making the league. Big shoutouts though to Gig, Nobody, Kathy, and Winda for being our finalists. Congrats to Winda on the 6th title ever, and this is the 4th title in a row, being a conference championship. Winda hoping to gain their first ever grand championship, which is definitely going to be an interesting one. And Gig and Nobody, I have no idea who wins the match yet, like I said, because it hasn't been played yet. But this will be the first title for both coaches, and potentially they might be getting back-to-back titles, getting a conference title, but also getting the grand championship title. Very, very proud. Did I thank Rat? I don't think I thanked Rat. Thank you, Rat, for always listening to my stupid rambling. Thank you. Gambit too, but Gambit's more outside of the league rambling. So, yeah, this last like 5 minutes has been me thanking people. So, you know, I kind of need to do that in preparation for the next season. There's just so many people that I need to really express my gratitude towards. So, hopefully, Season 14 can go on to be our best season yet. Because I think, honestly, not to toot my own horn, because I can't really do that in this case, but Season 13 was definitely one of our better seasons in a very long time. And I'm hoping to see that continue to grow. I think this league is awesome. This league is great. And I would really, really love to see every single person who either watches this video or who played in the league in Season 13 to return again. I really, really would. I mean, after all, none of this would be possible without the player base. And I would just be some guy rambling in front of a camera about other stuff, which I kind of just rant in front of a camera anyways, even though there's no camera here. But, yeah, so you don't really... I guess I probably shouldn't have done this whole thing, but whatever. Anyways, look forward to Grand Finals. I know I am. I will more than likely be releasing a video breaking down the conference finals matches, doing some live commentary. I haven't watched the Winda versus Kathy match, but I know who wins. And I might end up watching Gig versus Nobody, but I think I kind of want to watch the games before I give, you know, my insight on them. It's not really going to be like a blind reaction anyways. So, my throat is starting to hurt because I haven't talked this long in a very long time. Ever since I got sick, like Saturday. But thank you guys for watching this video. And I hope to see you all in Season 14. Bye.